Sheila's not here.
Calling to order the March 19, 2025 City Council meeting. All please rise and we'll recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before I have the clerk call the roll, I'd like to ask for a moment of silence for those that were affected by the tornado Friday, 3/14. I know that we came out on the good side of it with no injuries, no fatalities, but other municipalities did suffer some. So please say a little prayer. Thank you. The clerk will now call the roll. Our clerk, Karen Robinson, is joining us remotely this evening. Karen?
Okay, we're gonna do, yes, sir, I'm here. Councilmember Hood,
Here.
Councilmember Ioane,
Here.
Councilmember Luke,
Here.
Councilmember Luther,
Here.
Councilmember Norris,
Here.
Councilmember Patel. Patel,
Absent.
thank you. Councilmember Sotell,
Here.
Councilmember Weshy.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, we have 7 out of 8 council members with us this evening. The next item on the agenda is the agenda approval. Motion.
Second.
Motion is made for the agenda approval by Councilmember Luther, seconded by Councilmember Luke. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays? I hear none. I see some lights. Councilmember Norris?
Yes, sir, thank you. I'd like to add a discussion item to add the 314 tornado report.
Second.
Okay, motion is made by Councilmember Norris, seconded by Councilmember Sattel to add a discussion item under M on the agenda regarding the 314 tornado. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I hear none. Councilmember Luther.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda to table Bill number 6486.
Second.
Motion is made to table bill number 6486 by Councilmember Luther, seconded by Councilmember Luke. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I hear none. All in favor now of the agenda as amended, say aye.
Aye.
Motion.
Yeah, we need a motion.
So moved. I move that I make a motion that we approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
Motion is made for the approval of the amended agenda by Councilmember Luther, seconded by Councilmember Luke. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I hear none. Tonight's agenda is approved. Next item on the agenda is public comments. We have one card this evening, and it's Ms. Jessica Perkins. Please come forward.
Good evening. Good evening. Last year, after the April 2nd election, I appeared before you to extend my immense appreciation and thanks to Bridgeton staff, the City Council, and the 800 residents who voted favorably to update our charter for the 21st century by passing 3 of the 4 charter amendments. Unfortunately, Proposition C did not pass. This is the amendment that removes the residency requirement for the municipal judge and allows for the appointment of a municipal judge. The Charter Review and Revision Commission recommended this change to ensure that when Judge LaRue is no longer eligible to run in 2027 due to mandatory retirement, the council could have a larger pool of attorneys to select a judge. From what I understand, we have fewer attorneys living in Bridgeton than we did when Judge LaRue first ran, and there is no guarantee that those attorneys have an interest to run and or have municipal court experience. Of the 50 St. Louis County cities with municipal courts, only 4 others elect their municipal judge. Obviously, 45 other municipalities now have a larger pool of candidates. Why shouldn't Bridgeton? Judge LaRue has served Bridgeton in an exemplary manner for decades, and the CRRC suggested this recommendation because we want you to be proactive. No one can replace Judge LaRue, but with a larger pool of candidates, we can come close. I am hoping the third time is a charm, and we will continue to prepare Bridgeton for the 21st century. If not, I am not certain we will have an exemplary court system in Bridgeton. And I'd like to also invite anyone who is listening and anyone who is in the audience to a webinar that we will be having tomorrow. The City of Bridgeton will be having tomorrow. It is at 7 o'clock. You can, most folks are still getting their postcards with the QR code or the website, so hopefully look for that tomorrow if it hasn't come already. The address is www.bridgetonmo.com/PROP, meaning Prop 3, or you can go back and review the recording after we do that tomorrow. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Perkins. Councilmember Wesche.
I would like to suspend council rules so I can ask Ms. Perkins a question.
Second.
Motion is made by Councilmember Wesche, seconded by Councilmember Sittell, suspend council rules to ask a question or two of Ms. Perkins. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I hear none. Please come forward.
First, thank you very much for speaking. I appreciate it. And also, just for the record, it's going to be a /Prop 3. That way, in case anybody messes up when they're typing, a lot of people get mixed up, no big deal. My question's going to be, is this going to be recorded to where a resident would be able to go in and watch it after the fact?
Absolutely, without a doubt.
And they'll be able to use that same URL to go and watch it later after the fact?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Or they can scan the QR code.
Wonderful. I really appreciate you answering the question. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Are there any other questions? Thanks for the clarification.
Thanks again, Ms. Perkins. Next item on the agenda, approval of the minutes from March the 5th.
So moved.
Second?
Motion is made by Councilmember Hood, seconded by Councilmember Norris. For the approval of the minutes from March the 5th, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I hear none. Any changes, deletions, additions? I hear none. Is there a motion for the approval of the minutes?
So moved.
Second?
Motion is made for the final approval of March 5th, 2025 minutes by Councilmember Luther, seconded by Councilmember Luke. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I hear none. The minutes from March 5th are approved. Next item on the agenda is appointments, presentations, proclamations, announcements, and any public hearings. The only thing I have this evening, it was laid on the dais in front of you prior to the meeting. I'm asking for your favorable approval this evening for a new member appointment to the Personnel Commission. From Ward 2, Josenta Connors, or her nickname, JoJo. I think she likes that. She lives on Harmony Lane. She's a 9-year Bridgeton resident. She's a seasoned business analyst with a strong background in healthcare management, has a Bachelor of Science in Healthcare Management, experience in data analysis, process improvement, and strategic planning. She is deeply connected in the community and committed to driving impactful initiatives. Josenta's business analysis expertise and healthcare knowledge allows her to contribute valuable insights to the Personnel Commission in Bridgeton. Do I have a motion? Ms. Siwano.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion is made for favorable approval by Councilmember Iowanu, seconded by Councilmember Sittell. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I hear none. You are approved to the Personnel Commission. Congratulations and good luck. Next item on the agenda that we have any business under is perfection of bills. First is bill number 6485. Councilmember Luther.
Thank you, Mayor. Move for second reading of Bill number 6485.
Second.
Motion is made for second reading of Bill number 6485 by Councilmember Luther, seconded by Councilmember Luke. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I hear none. Please continue.
Thank you, Mayor. An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Bridgeton, Missouri, application number 25PZ01, amending multiple sections of the Bridgeton zoning ordinance to modify regulations related to taverns and saloons and to modify regulations related to the sale of liquor at restaurants. Move that Bill number 6485 become ordinance number,
25-12.
thank you.
Second.
Oh, there we go.
Motion is made that Bill number 6485 become ordinance 25-12. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I hear none. Any?
Mayor,
Yes.
we need a roll call vote on legislation.
Okay. Any discussion? Councilmember Norris?
Yeah, I just have a question. This is just related to this area, where we've got it zoned, and just taverns and saloons and liquor at restaurants. It doesn't connect anything with any private, like banquet halls. Do they have to have liquor licenses? Am I going off the trail? Oh, Zach.
Yeah.
Correct. Bear with me just a moment. So it was to move taverns and saloons to requiring a special use permit.
Oh.
And then sale of liquor at restaurants would require a special use permit.
Okay.
Banquet halls and event spaces already require special use permit.
Okay,
Is that-
all right.
okay.
I just want to clarify that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
Any further questions or discussion? I see none. The clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Iowanu?
Aye.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Councilmember Luke?
Aye.
Thank you. Councilmember Luther?
Yes, aye.
Councilmember Norris?
Aye.
Councilmember Patel is excused. Councilmember Sotto?
Aye.
Councilmember Washi?
Aye.
Councilmember Hud?
Aye.
Mayor, can you clarify who made the motion? Luther made the motion. Was the second by Luke?
Correct.
Thank you. Got it.
By a vote of 7-0, Bill number 6485 becomes ordinance 25-12. Next item on the agenda, Bill number 6486 is tabled, so we go to Bill number 6487 for second reading. Councilmember Luther.
Thank you, Mayor. Move for second reading of Bill number 6487.
Second.
Motion is made by Councilmember Luther, seconded by Councilmember Luke. For second reading of Bill number 6487, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I hear none. Please continue.
Thank you, Mayor. An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Bridgeton, Missouri, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute a first amendment to the development agreement substantially in the form attached hereto as Exhibit A by and among the city, Savoy Hilltop Redevelopment Corporation, Clayton, Maryland LLC, and Bridgeton Hilltop Community Improvement District. Move that Bill number 6487 become ordinance number 2513.
Second.
Motion is made that Bill number 6486 become ordinance 2513 by Councilmember Luther, seconded by Councilmember Luke. Discussion. I see none. The clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Luke?
Aye.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear
Yeah.
response.
Yes.
Thank you. Councilmember Luther?
Aye.
Councilmember Norris?
Aye.
Councilmember Patel is absent. Councilmember Sotto?
Aye.
Councilmember Washi?
Aye.
Councilmember Hud?
Aye.
Councilmember Iowanu?
Aye.
7-0.
By a vote of 7-0, Bill number 6487 becomes ordinance 25-13. Next item on the agenda is consideration of new bills. Bill number 6488. Councilmember Luther.
Thank you, Mayor. Move for first reading of Bill number 6488.
Second.
Motion is made by Councilmember Luther, seconded by Councilmember Luke for first reading of Bill number 6488. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I hear none. Please continue.
Thank you, Mayor. An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Bridgeton, Missouri, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute an agreement substantially in the form attached hereto with Joseph W. Bomarito Construction Company, Inc. for the 2025-2026 concrete pavement replacement project associated with select streets in the Harmon Estates subdivision in an amount of $971,452. The project budget includes a contingency in the amount of $30,000. Move to table Bill number 6488.
Second.
Motion is made to table Bill number 6488 by Councilmember Luther, seconded by Councilmember Luke. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I hear none. Bill number 6488 is tabled. Next item on the agenda, we have discussion items. First and only is 314 tornado report. I'm going to start with the Chief of Police, Chief Masadi. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Mayor and council members, for allowing me to add this to the agenda to give everyone kind of an update. What I wanted to do was I wanted to give everybody an idea of the sequence of events that had occurred last Friday on the 14th. So early on the 14th, the police department began getting early warning notifications that a weather pattern was coming into the St. Louis area, very, very similar to the 2011 tornado storm that hit the city of Bridgeton back then. So at that time, when the National Weather Service was putting out those alerts throughout the day, I was forwarding that information to my command staff. So we monitored the weather throughout the day. Last Friday night, we had a special detail for the police department that was coming in, and they were going to work on some car thefts and car issues that we had going on parking lots along the Rock Road corridor. So at the time, I had an extra lieutenant and 3 other additional officers that were actually working on duty that night to complement the original officers, which was 5 and 2 supervisors. So as the night went on, they were monitoring the situation, and what happened was as the storm approached, we began getting reports that there was tornadic activity that was entering the Maryland Heights area and the village of Champ. Our lieutenant, that was the commander on duty that night, immediately summoned all the officers into the police department, and they took shelter underneath in the lower level of the police department for safety. As shortly after everything kind of calmed down, the storm blew through, we began getting the initial calls for trees being down, with the first call coming from Benedetta and the Scotch area of a tree in a house. One of the officers responded to that area, and when he got into the St. Gerard Park, St. James Estates subdivision, it was obvious that we had a big problem on hand. At that same time, county dispatch who dispatches for us, got inundated with calls of poles down, trees in houses, a roof collapses. Those calls began pouring into the dispatch center. So the lieutenant responded up to the location, and he made the call to me advising that we had what looked like a tornado had touched down in the neighborhood. At the same time, we were getting calls that Natural Bridge was completely blocked by a pole and a car overturned between Fifi and Magella. And we also were getting calls on Old St. Charles that there was a tree leaning over the road that obviously was a danger to passing traffic, and it looked like it was about to fall onto the roadway. So obviously our resources were depleted very, very quickly. The watch commander called and requested that we consider calling it what's called a Code 1000. A Code 1000 in the law enforcement community in the St. Louis area, what that means is that surrounding agencies send on-duty personnel to the area to assist with whatever the emergency is. So I gave authorization to make that call as I was responding in to help command the situation. We ended up getting 22 officers from various departments that responded, and what we did was we set up command here at the government center in the lobby with staging here. What that means is the officers from those departments came here, they checked in, we have a check-in system, and then they were deployed to wherever we needed the resources. So at that time, we had quickly identified that, you know, there was a specific area in the neighborhood that had significant damage, and we knew there was a need for checking for injuries and or fatalities. We coordinated with the fire department at that time. They sent resources here, and then we set up an area command at the intersection of Benedetta and Avery. And our vehicles our commander along with the commander from the fire district staged there, and then we started sending resources to that area to start doing a house-by-house check of the streets that we knew were impacted from the storm. We ended up also having to close down Natural Bridge, which took multiple officers to do, along with Old St. Charles. And what we did was, at the same time, we began recalling off-duty officers from our department to come in and help with the situation. I'm happy to say that there was no injuries or no fatalities in this storm. And as you all know, I mean, I was around, and I look at Don because we went through this in 2011, a very similar storm that came through, and we were blessed that the impact of it wasn't quite as devastating as that one, but it was traumatic for that neighborhood and that community. And our hearts go out as a police department to everybody that was affected by that. Following the roadblocks that we set up and the house-to-house searches, we were able to get enough Bridgeton officers in that at about 2:30 to 3 o'clock, we had officers that went out and were able to relieve the officers from the outside agencies that had responded. And at 3 o'clock, we had it contained where it was just Bridgeton officers working the event here in Bridgeton. As the morning progressed and we were able to finish the searches and determine that nobody was injured or killed, we were able to move forward with, as the sunlight came up, an assessment of the damage, and notified Public Works to have them come in to start doing inspections of homes in the neighborhood to see how many of them had to be condemned or if they were safe to be inside. Now, there was a lot that went on. I did want to really get into the details of some of the searches. We had to get some people out of houses that were dangerous to be in, and we were assisting with trying to get them housing overnight. So as that went on, you know, there was a lot of things and details that went on with it. At the same time that everything was going on and the initial onset of this tornado, obviously I talked to Mayor Hine. He was affected by it. I know the St. Louis County executive had reached out and talked to Mayor Hine throughout the incident, and he also came by here to check on us to make sure that we didn't need any additional resources. But during that whole time period, I was in contact with the St. Louis County Emergency Operations Center, which had gone what we call hot. They were activated in the afternoon of Friday because the storm was moving in. So they had staff actually in the center when it hit, and I was able to call them right away, and they were offering whatever assistance we had or we needed from them. So we kept in good communications with them as we moved forward. Saturday morning by 8 a.m. we had determined that the impact area was really contained within that 3 to 4 block area, with Scotch being the point of contact, the main point of contact, and it moved through that area. We did have some houses that were affected on other streets, but not quite as severe as that specific area. Trees being down, roads being blocked was a significant hindrance to the emergency responders in getting into some houses. They just went in on foot. And then there's always the danger of live wires and what have you being in the area. So we were fortunate that we made it through without any injuries, and now we move on to the assessment and the recovery from the impact of this storm. Public Works Director, Mr. Gunn, will cover some of the assessments, the number of homes, and those, what they're doing moving forward as we progress through the cleanup efforts. Saturday afternoon, we did have Hazelwood Police Department come out. They ran a drone over, so we got aerial footage of the impact area. So we have that information that we can work on also. And we've been working with the county, and we'll let Robert go into more details about it. But one of the things that I just wanted to emphasize as we move forward as a community is the on the public safety aspect of this and the scams that are out there that chase these storms. And I know that we have our public relations officer that's posting information on social media about these scams and some of the warnings and things to look for. I'll just touch on a couple. Don't pay up front. It's kind of basic. Verify that the company is bonded and insured. Be cautious and skeptical of people that come that want to do a quick, I'll get this done in a day or what have you. Be careful of that. Check credentials on people. Make sure that they're a licensed contractor when it comes to work, and avoid kind of rushing through these repair efforts. Take your time, make sure that you're moving with diligence on making sure that these are reputable businesses to work. One of the things that we have done, and we're continuing as we speak, is we set officers on the perimeter of the subdivision, Magellan Natural Bridge, and then we have one at Lockport and Benedetta. Their sole purpose is to be monitoring people coming in and out of the area. Obviously, we have a no solicitation without a permit in the city of Bridgeton, so the people that are randomly trying to come through and start walking house to house, we're trying to screen those if we can. We ask that if a resident encounters somebody that's soliciting, the police call us and we'll come check them out. They are supposed to have a permit. And essentially what the officers are doing is they're asking for an address that a contractor or somebody's going to, along with a name. So that would mean that the resident called and authorized them to come in. We've had several that we've turned away. I think it's beneficial to have this for the time being to make sure that we're monitoring those coming in and out. And one of the things that was very helpful on the onset of this was the street department got out right away, and they did a fantastic job staging. They got signage, the signed billboard signs that they have on the trailers put up that said residents only. And I think by the morning, when the light came up, we had signs on both sides of that subdivision saying residents only. And that kept spectators out, because we all know on some of these streets, it's hard to get through, and then we got damage and trees down. And if we had a bunch of spectators trying to come through, all it was going to do was hinder our response, our inspections, and moving forward with the cleanup. So that seemed to work extremely well. I just wanted to express my gratitude towards Councilmember Luke. I know she has a background in disaster response with her work through the Salvation Army. Has been trained in a lot of these different areas, and she really did a great job taking the lead of reaching out to the residents and walking around and kind of getting the ball rolling on the needs assessment of the community in those streets. So that it was extremely helpful. as we move forward. And that's continuing today. I know there was a group of 15 or 20 volunteers that were out that were actually helping clean up and help out with whatever the residents need. So with that, I'll pass it on to Robert to tell you a little more about the cleanup efforts, the inspections, and how we're working with county government as we move forward to try to get this moved into a FEMA incident or state emergency management incident.
Chief, do you want to take questions from council?
Sure.
Councilmember Norris?
Chief, thank you, and thank your whole staff. I said it was unbelievable. We have to, I guess, I hate to say this, I guess practice makes perfect, and I hope it doesn't happen again. Can you give me the time when that happened? Do you have any idea when that hit?
I believe it was 9:38, somewhere
Okay.
around
9:38 is what we-
9:37.
that's
And I
what I
actually talked to the mayor on the phone when he had the damage and, his street was hit, but at that time, we didn't know how bad it was next door. So I think it was about 9:38.
Okay. And you guys are okay? You need anything from us?
No,
Any-
I think we're doing well.
Okay.
It's always tricky on the first call outs with staff
Right.
because, but I can't speak enough about our staff here. And the
Unbelievable.
police officers that, they're calling us saying, hey, some of them are working second jobs in town and I'm on my way. We had a support staff member that just called and showed up, came right in. So that was an outstanding response by them, and they're always fantastic about jumping in and helping whatever we could do to solve the problem. So thank you.
That's why I love this city. Thank you.
Council members, any more questions of Chief? I see none. Thank you. Mr. Gunn, Public Works Director.
Sure. Public Works timeline.
You want to come up to the mic?
Sorry, I can't hear Robert.
Oh, go ahead. The Public Works timeline started on that Friday. Matt got the call, started calling people in. So about 10 o'clock p.m., we had people arriving at Public Works Garage. We had 12 employees showing up that night, and they worked all the way through the night through Saturday at 3 p.m. They finally went home. And primarily what they were doing is just opening up the streets and noting any down power lines and getting that reported back into Ameren. On Saturday morning, we had 3 inspectors from Public Works show up, and on Sunday, we had 5 of our inspectors showing up. So they worked 10 hours each day, and as a result of their inspections that they did Saturday and Sunday, and then along with a few more this Monday and Tuesday, approximately 476 homes have been noted as having some type of damage, and that's important in the sense where right now we have 3,302 homes in the city of Bridgeton, which means that we're about 14% of our housing stock was damaged because of the storm. It's quite a considerable number. After we did all the inspections, they created kind of a map in the sense where they wanted to put things. And then you can see the houses in blue are the houses that received significant damage. And we use that map, and we've been updating our mapping with different colors and stuff. I thought this was probably the easiest one to use. We use the blue housing or blue locations, and that's where we put our dumpsters. We have 9 dumpsters out in this area. And then we also added porta potties this morning. So we have 5 porta potties, and we can move those around depending upon how the cleanup is going through the next several weeks. And then today we had several meetings, and then it yielded, and bear with me as I toggle through these because of the different sizes. St. Louis County is putting together some information so we can apply for grants and stuff. How do we get this over here? Because basically for the president to declare a state of Missouri as a presidential declaration for reimbursement of damage, we have to hit 2 thresholds. One is statewide, and then another one would be a threshold for St. Louis County. It goes by your population in your counties, so it relies on doing estimates of our city and surrounding cities. And if you scroll down, currently we're at close to $500,000 of what the city would be having to spend or expense out to either clean up, first responders for safety of the residents, and then overall cleanup and debris removal. We're predicting another 25 days total of debris removal, along with several hours and several days of hours for the police department to stand watch around the subdivisions. Let's see what else we have. I think that's about it. We put in our estimate, the police having an additional 14 days from today forward of overtime to be the posting of the guards in those areas. Pending your questions.
Council? Councilmember Wishing.
With the wind and everything going on today, is there anything going on that, like, has there been any additional damage that we've seen with some of these houses, porta potties being blown over, anything
We had
like
a
that?
tree fall down about an hour ago. I think you called me on that one.
Of course, that I was meaning more in the area that.
I think there are some reports of 2 of the porta potties have tipped over right now already, so we're continuing to rack up the damage right now.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Councilmember Norris?
Yes. Mr. Gunn, can we have copies of this, please?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
I know the director at St. Louis County was putting all the numbers together, so I think they're going to be submitting that to SEMA.
Okay.
After they hit a certain threshold, that's when they'll go to the governor and he'll make the request to the federal government for a declaration, a disaster declaration. And that could happen as early as tomorrow.
Okay, I thought Kehoe had already did that with multiple counties.
You can declare it, the state can declare it as a disaster area, but as far as applying to the federal government to make it, you have to hit certain thresholds, and it takes a little while to get that numbers pulled together.
Thank you.
Councilmember Sattel?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Robert, have you heard from other municipalities on the reports like this too of other damages? I mean, where they log all this stuff together or update even on if anybody's really injured or dead, stuff like that?
I haven't talked to other cities. We were pulling together our numbers, but I know St. Louis County was contacting like Chesterfield, Forest, and Hazelwood to come up with the same kind of situation as far as the same kind of budgeted information.
Okay. I just think our citizens like to know how blessed they were here, to not have any damage, or loss of life. Thank you.
Any further comments? I've got a few. Thank you, Chief, and all the police department for a great job that you've been doing since Friday. We appreciate you. You're there for us when we need you, and that's what's important. Mr. Gunn, thanks for coming out, getting Mr. Elliott out on it as soon as possible. And I know there's nobody here from our 2 fire protection districts that mainly serve that area, Pattonville and Robertson. They helped in trying to identify any injuries or deaths, any major incidents that would require people to go to the hospital. I myself had a substantial amount of roof and structural damage. Been in hotels since Friday, did actually become able to occupy my home last night with the electricity being on. However, I'm missing a pretty good section of my roof. Personal thank you to Gretchen. She contacted me immediately, her and her husband and son, and neighbor of theirs, Steve Niemeyer, and also Mr. Bookout. Thank you. He came out. They got on the roof and they tarped the section of my roof that had blown off. And I don't know what I would have done if it weren't for them, but I feel very, very indebted to them. Oh, Gretchen's work of providing assistance and city guidance since Friday evening is very good. I don't know how you can measure it, but it's up there. Her project management experience and Salvation Army disaster crisis management experience has proven to be quite valuable to the city, our employees, and residents affected by the tornado. Events like this bring our residents and our community together and stronger. So thank you. That's all I have right now. Next item on the agenda, we'll move on, is the attorney's report.
I have nothing, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Council communications, I'll start with Councilmember Hood.
Well, I just want to reiterate the outstanding job that the city has done with this, and it's true, we had a horrible learning experience, but I will tell you that they did it right. And they set an example that's going to be hard to follow, and I want to congratulate them. They did it great.
Thank you. Councilmember Norris?
Thank you. I'm going to just repeat, thanks to the Bridgeton employees, the police, the public works, parks, administrative. Wow, they are great. That's why I love this community, and that's why people keep staying and don't want to leave. I wish we could have more people, more places for people to live so they could be part of this. Just to get on a personal side, I attended a senior luncheon on March the 13th. How different a couple days, a few hours can make. So just appreciate every day, every time, see your friends. We had a great time on that day. The mayor and I were visiting with many residents. It was a lovely St. Patrick's Day celebration. Our senior staff does such a great job. And the morning of 314, we also attended the Small Sliders ribbon cutting. Again, it was a beautiful, sunny, gorgeous day, and a few hours later, we had such confusion. I was very honored to receive an award from the Small Town Hero, and I wanted to thank Mayor Hine for this nomination. So it benefited my Kiwanis Club nonprofit. And I also want to extend I'm so sorry to the residents, the confusion and the commotion. You know, we're just getting too old for this stuff. And I just hate for them to have to go through this, the phone calls, getting lists, where to go. It's just, we never get used to something like this. It's just so overwhelming, and my prayers are with you all.
Thank you. Councilmember Luke?
Thank you, Mayor. This never gets easier. With as much, if I can do this, with as much training and experience as I have to tell you, this never gets easier. Our residents are so resilient, and they are so strong, and they've really, really pulled together to help each other, and I am so thankful to have the neighbors that I have. Shout out to Nancy Lupia. She also came to your house Friday night. And clarification, I did not get on a roof. I'm terrified to do so, so I would climb the ladder and hand them things that they needed, but Nancy and I spent our time on the ground helping to clear debris. Couple other thank yous I have to give. So Julie Chase provided a large coffee pot. My daughter-in-law Emma made the coffee, and then 6 pans of pasta that I was able to take around on Sunday and feed the neighbors. She also fed her neighbors on Liguori. I borrowed Scott Zimmer's Gator to use to transport food and drinks around. And my neighbor Amber Kinneman, my granddaughter Layla, and fellow council member Weshi took turns riding along with me to help distribute. The city's quick response has been terrific. Public Works, Police Department, and the parks have all done a terrific job getting the dumpsters out, the porta potties, taking care of our safety, providing the respite room at the rec center, the limb pickup, the damage assessments, and then also taking my calls immediately to answer, we call them survivors, questions while I'm out there. We call it boots on the ground. So thank you all department heads for taking my calls right away. Our wonderful fire districts, both Pattonville and Robertson, I'm hearing from the residents just how phenomenal they were, doing a lot of in addition to the assessments to make sure everybody was okay, but also helping with the cleanup. Many residents have offered so much praise for all everyone's been doing, going door to door, and the night and continuing through today. So the city has, I'm now babysitting my grandson during the day, so I can't be out there during the day. But to help alleviate some of the workload off of the department heads, they've allowed me to do volunteer coordination. So today, Faith Church arrived with, I don't know, I'm not sure yet how many they had, about 16 to 20 volunteers, and they got quite a bit done. They're hoping to come back, schedule another work day. That group included Bridgeton residents Tim and Joanne Schlechter. Mrs. Schlechter is a member of our beautification commission, so we're so thankful that they came out. Mrs. Hall, who lives on the corner of Scotch and Tideland, she's wonderful. She did a Channel 5 interview and then also provided her yard today for the church group to set up. So thank you, Mrs. Hall. Individual volunteers have reached out. Dan Meyer and Ryan Young both brought chainsaws. Ryan drove a couple of hours just to get his chainsaw and come back. One more, Kagan Schmidt, has reached out, and I'm still trying to reach that person. Kind of down to business. There are a couple multi-agency resource centers being planned for North County, and those are you might remember from the 2022 flooding, that's when all of the non-governmental organizations come together and provide resources all at the same time. So stay tuned for when those are going to be. If you need assistance, call United Way's 211 or 844-965-1386. I've seen some people put out information about donations management. The best thing you can do is provide monetary donations to the organizations that are on the ground, the Salvation Army, Team Rubicon, people like that. They all have websites that you can go find. I've not heard any requests for clothing or any type of in-kind goods like that so far. Today, well actually, I think since Saturday, the Salvation Army Emergency Disaster Services that I'm a part of was out providing tarps, snacks and hydration, and bins, and they're considering some lunch meals if it's going to be needed here in the community. I know the Public Works Department has declined being recipients of that. So if any of you hear of large groups or whatever that may need some meals, please let me know. They can also send a construction manager to help with tarping, and he may be able to do some additional help as well. If you had friends or family come to help and or will do so in the future, please reach out to me and let me know how much time they spent working. Feeding on what Mr. Gunn showed earlier about the $500,000 response, we also have to track volunteer hours, and that will go into our report for FEMA assistance to get the federal declaration. So please, please, please let me know what your volunteer hours were and will be going forward. My contact information is on the city website. Finally, this is going to take a long time. The initial response is over for the most part. We're pretty well through it. The cleanup's going very well. But the long-term response and recovery is going to take a long time. You heard Mr. Gunn say at least 25 days just for cleaning up limbs. Please don't feel like you've been ignored. There's so much that happened that it's easy for first responders and everyone else to get sidetracked and pulled in many directions. I hope I can speak for all my council members that we're all very well informed. Please feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions or if you have any concerns that you need addressed, and we'll be happy to get an answer for you. And then finally, please take advantage of the respite room at the rec center while it's still open. It's very important for us to take care of ourselves and to share our experience with each other. This is very, very traumatic, so my heart goes out to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Luther?
Thank you, Mayor. First, I want to start off with I want to read something. I had a phone call over the weekend from a resident in Bridgeton who had a lot of comments to make, And I asked this person to come and speak tonight. And the person said, I'm very shy. And also said, you know, I'm known for having very high standards for Bridgeton and being harsh sometimes or critical. And I said, why don't you give me your comments and I will read them. So I'm going to do that right now. The storm that came, well, I'm not going to start with that one. The severe storm hit Friday night, March 14th, and the emergency response team was fast on the scene. I was out shortly after the storm and saw the team taking care of the problems caused by the storm throughout Bridgeton. The fire department was helping people out of buildings in bad situations. The police were directing traffic around the debris. The street department crews were clearing debris from the road. Everyone seemed very professional and knew what they needed to do. It was very impressive on how they all worked together to help people in need and get the city functioning again. This was a dangerous situation with storms still raging around the area. We all have a lot of gratitude to the emergency workers who were there for us in our time of need. Seeing the damage throughout the city and its speedy recovery, it was great to see how the city came together through the storm to make sure the residents were safe and sound and the city ready for business. And the storm that came through Bridgeton caused major damage. The emergency response team did a great job helping people and repairing the city. The whole town came together, with local business even helping. For instance, one business made hamburgers and French fries for the workers, residents, and delivered them so they could get nourishment and continue working. They were very appreciative, and it made them feel important, which they were. It's small things like this that make a great city, and we should never forget we are all in this together. Thank you for those comments. I also wanted to thank, we've got all our first responders, and for heaven's sake, without you, I know there would have been injuries and perhaps death. But I also want to take a moment to thank the people that made phone calls, picked up sticks, visited people, talked to people. That's what neighborhoods do, and that's what we all did, and that makes a huge difference. So thank you for all the little things. You might think they're insignificant, they're not at all. And last, I know Randy will talk about this a little more, but I said this to new leadership with the Environmental Protection Agency, so I'll tell you too, that Bridgeton has weathered a lot of storms, haven't we? F2s, F4s, and storms like the buyout. And the storm we faced dealing with Westlake, which I think you'll talk about. And I said, and here we are. Here we are. We've got a great school district. We are financially sound. We can make decisions and we can guide our growth, and we are well prepared to do that. So my hat's off to you, to everyone who played a hand in the storm recovery. And it's not just that, in making the community that we're proud and pleased to live in. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Ioannou.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to share just a personal note of thanks to my Bridgeton family of community, and bear with me, I'm going to read this so I can keep my composure. The night of the tornado rattled every one of us as we sat in the dark riding it out, not knowing how bad it was going to be or if we'd even survive. All while reliving the memories of the EF4 that almost completely leveled our community on Good Friday 2011. While we were hunkered down, our first responders were dealing with the direct line of the storms, watching over and protecting all of us. I wish to extend my sincere gratitude to the chief and all of the officers for your dedication to not only serve and protect on a daily basis, but holding the front lines in a crisis. Thank you. Your efforts are appreciated beyond measure. To the mayor, who was only a few days into recovery from surgery and sustained property damages of his own. Despite his circumstances, he did not miss a beat. He has stepped up and been working tirelessly to look out for everyone. And he has continued to keep residents updated with numerous social media posts. Your compassion and love for this community is duly noted and commended. I wish to extend my gratitude to you. To the city administration, department heads and staff, to all who have been working extended hours with dedication to keep operations going on schedule and manage the recovery efforts. Your efforts are greatly appreciated. I'd also like to recognize my fellow council who were boots on the ground. Gretchen, you went above and beyond, and you were a bright light in a dark time for many. Thank you. I'd also like to recognize Nancy Lapia, who fielded a lot of questions on the Bridgeton Next Door Neighborhood Watch and helped people get the right information. The admins on the Neighborhood Watch page have done an exceptional job of keeping a watchful eye out and keeping the riffraff out. So no matter how great or small, I'm really sorry about the damage to you and your neighbors' homes, the properties, and the upset to your peace and well-being. It's very distressing to go through a storm event of this nature in the darkness of night and then find your lives or the lives of others turned upside down the next day. Though our community sustained substantial damages to our homes and property, God had a hedge of protection over us once again. There were no injuries or loss of life. That is nothing short of a miracle that has been bestowed upon our community. For that, I'm grateful. To the residents, I want to assure you that the mayor, city council, the police department, and the city administration is all by your side in this. We will get through this, heal, and rebuild. We're a strong community of family that comes together to help one another at a time of need, and together we will rise up again. People are exhausted and super stressed right now from enduring innumerable hardships the storm has created and reliving some of the difficult memories of 2011. For many, this is the first time they've ever experienced these challenges. It's a difficult time for everyone, so please, please, be patient, compassionate, and kind to one another. My prayers continue. May peace, courage, and strength be with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Sattel.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I'll keep it a little shorter than the other ladies spoke prior to me. I would like to give a really good thanks to our mayor on how he posted all of his council members before midnight. You know, this gets late at night. A lot of us are out there thinking, well, did we go to bed yet or not? You're trying to figure out and find out some new information. And I thought that was a great way to reach out by including not just all the close friends, but all the council and the head people, so you could hear income, hear what was going on from the different parts of the city. I thought that was very beneficial that you did on Friday night, or late Friday night. I mean, the timing, even like Kathy just mentioned, going through your rehab right now, just started this week. That took a little extra time to sit there and make sure you got everything correct and going out. And I thought that was really beneficial. And I think everybody did respond and got questions back and forth. And that was really helpful to communicate and not get in other people's way back and forth or making a bunch of phone calls that were unnecessary. But thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Weshing.
Thanks, Mayor. First, thanks everybody for coming out tonight. Also wanted to thank the police department for manning the front door with the metal detectors. I know I've had more than one person, somebody might be cheering in the back right now, wanting the metal detectors used for city council meetings, for security for a while. So I was definitely happy to see that we were able to do that tonight. Also want to remind people that we have a Ward 1 and Ward 2 meeting on March 26th at 7 p.m. Wanted to give a shout out to the Pattonville Fire Department. There was a small yard fire in my neighborhood yesterday, and they were able to take care of that and did a great job. Prior to coming to the meeting today, the wind knocked a very large tree over Whitby Hall Drive. I saw it when I was out going to my car, and I went to my next door neighbor house, and I'm like, hey, can you give me a hand to where we can at least get people to be able to drive on the street, because I knew it was after hours for public works. I also called Robert Gunn to ask if he could send somebody out. My neighbor Jay and I were able to clear out that he didn't even ask twice about it. He did that, and a few other neighbors came out to help get everything cleared up as well. So just trying to look out for people like that. It was great to see other neighbors come out. And then less than 40 minutes after calling Robert whenever I was heading up here, there was a giant caterpillar coming down the street, and Public Works took care of it. So I thought it was awesome that you guys were able to come out 40 minutes, even though it was after hours and you already sent your people home. So thank you for taking care of that so fast.
I was wondering where it was going by my house.
Yep. And finally, wanted to shout out Gretchen Luke, my other council member here. The work she's been doing for the storm stuff's been crazy. She's been on boots on ground this entire time, and the entire time she's been doing it as a citizen because legally we cannot do it as council members. So it's all been done as a citizen, just trying to help out. I was over at the mayor's house on Sunday trying to help out for a little bit, and she offered to let me ride around on the gator with her, and we ended up handing out, I think we said about 25 or so meals. We were on that gator until about 8:30 at night.
It was 3.5 pans of pasta.
Yeah. I'm just meaning the little bit I was on there with you. I mean, it was a lot. And also thanks to your daughter-in-law for cooking all that. Everybody that got to try both pans of pasta, both types of pasta, there was red and chicken Alfredo, seemed to really like it. I know I enjoyed it too. So, and thank you, former council member Scott Zimmer, for loaning us that gator. And of course, thanks to everybody at Bridgeton for all the work they did, whether it be public works, police, fire, whoever. Thank you very much. And thanks to all the residents. Back to you, Mayor.
Thank you. Staff reports. I'll start with Mr. Kane. Parks and Rec.
As far as the tornado goes, Parks Department was very fortunate. Some minor tree damage. A big tree went down by Gentry Park that we were able to take out pretty easily. As was mentioned, the rec center was made available to residents, anybody that was displaced or without power. The rec center was without power part of the weekend, but after that we were open and available. Anybody that needs to take a shower or still needs to take a shower, come by and recharge phones, or just to talk to your community members, we're available. So also wanted to mention our Arbor Day celebration is coming up on Friday, April 11th at 11 a.m. That'll be at Bridgeway Park. We'll plant a tree and give away saplings to people that are in attendance. We'll have the 5th grade class from Bridgeway Elementary will be there as well. They did that last year. It was a great educational field trip for them. So they're going to make that an annual occurrence. And then also Breakfast with the Bunny is Saturday, April 12th, 9:30 to 11 at the Rec Center. $12 for residents and members, $14 for non-residents under 2. 2 and under are free. Catered breakfast, petting zoo, of course, pictures with the Easter Bunny will all be available. And the deadline to register for that is April 7th. That's all I have.
Any questions of Mr. Kane from council? I see none.
Mayor?
Yes.
Sorry.
Councilmember Luke.
Thank you. Sorry, I didn't get to my button fast enough. Mr. Kane, some of the residents have asked about the trees that are in the city right away. A couple of them in particular broke at, I don't know, approximately 15 feet up. I know it would be a while before anything would happen, but would the city, do you think, plan to come and remove the remainder of the stump?
Yeah, definitely. So we've already identified a number of trees that we'll need to address, and there's one of them that actually was a pretty significant issue. The roots were kind of pulled out of the ground and loosened a little bit, and it broke a water main, broke a water pipe underground. So they had to come and fix the water pipe, but the tree looks like it's moved a little bit. So we're working with, and that's something that's bigger than anything that we can do with our staff. So we've been working with the tree company that we contract with to do some of those, and they're going to try to get on that right away. And then the rest of them, some of them we can do, some will be contracted, and we'll be working on that in the coming weeks.
Okay, thank you. If you don't mind, could I get a list of the ones that you're planning to use so that as I'm going around, I can let them know when they ask?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Yeah, that one that you're talking about, it is a humongous tree. It's amazing to me it twisted and didn't fall.
Thank you. Chief?
Okay, just a couple things. I'm happy to tell you that we're going to be hosting the Do the Right Thing in conjunction with KMOV. It's going to be next Wednesday, 26th at 10:30 a.m. right here in the council chambers. So that's the organization that recognizes kids that do the right thing. A lot of them come from various schools, but everybody's welcome to come up here and join the celebration as we recognize the kids. And again, that's on Wednesday, the 26th at 10:30. We do have a CRAZE training coming up. That's a civilian response to active shooter events. That training is on April the 9th. in the multipurpose room off from the lobby here at City Hall. That's 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. So the community is welcome to come attend that class. And then also for council members, just a reminder, if you would like to attend the St. Louis Area Police Chiefs Association's Memorial Breakfast, that's on Tuesday, April the 29th. And we do caravan from the City Hall here at 7 a.m. Just get a hold of Julie and she'll get you a spot reserved at our table. And again, that's on April 29th, the Memorial Breakfast. And that's all I have to report.
Thank you again, Chief. Mr. Gunn, Public Works.
Nothing more to report.
Okay. Mr. Bookout.
Yes, sir. I know I sent an email earlier this week canceling that tour that we were trying to line up with for the former KV Pharmaceutical Building. So in the next week or so, I'll send another email out. We'll try to see if we can't get those tours in. I know everybody's not going to make it, and so my hope is to get maybe 2 or 3 going out to take a look at that at a time. And we certainly want to work around your schedules, and so it might take a little while, but the hope is to get those in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So I'll be in touch. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor's report. Last week, I got a call from the Josh Holly's Chief of Staff, and he wanted to know if the city of Bridgeton would host a press conference here on Monday, which we did. And he was coming in town and bringing along with him the new administrator for the EPA, Mr. Lee Zeldin. So that was pre-arranged before the Friday night weather event. Things went well. And I invited Councilmember Luther, since she's chairman of the council, to participate and be in the meeting as well. And they came to view the sites around St. Louis area that have been affected by the radioactive impact of material that was the byproduct from World War II nuclear bomb that was made. They started here with the press conference. It went very well for about an hour. Also in attendance were DePaul Hospital, Kim Baker, Community Affairs Liaison, St. Louis Moms, Dawn Chapman and Karen Nichols, Robertson Fire Protection, Pattonville, Kevin, Assistant Chief from Pattonville Fire Protection District, also Chief Ushery from Pattonville Fire Protection District, and 2 residents from Spanish Village. I thought it went very well. After the meeting, we did take a tour of the Westlake landfill. First time I've seen it myself in person. It's very impressive, very moving, as was the news, the press conference, very moving. I've heard the stories before from other individuals, from the same individuals that were here, telling their story of some kind of death in the family or illnesses that have come about because of the radioactive material being stored in Westlake landfill. Each time I hear them, they become more emotional, and I think they make a bigger impact on me every time I hear them. I'm going to tell you this, it's not a red issue or a blue issue, and I said this, I call it a purple issue because it's a blended of blue and red. And I truly believe that Josh Holly and this new administrator of the EPA will further the remediation quicker than anybody else has in the past. The EPA director asked that the Region 7 director come up with some notes and a plan within 21 days on how ambitious he can get to remediation. And the EPA director will review that and see what kind of resources it will take and come up with a more aggressive timeline to start excavation and remediation. I was very happy to hear that. Senator Holly, you probably have heard, has been fighting for over a year for adding the Bridgeton Westlake landfill and the area residents to be included in RECA, the Radiation Exposure Compensation Act. It keeps running up against brick walls in Washington, D.C., but he continues the fight, and the fight keeps getting stronger, and I really believe it will probably pass sometime this year, which is good news for all of us. Moving on, the public guidelines for the public comment portion of the council meeting. I was going to make some comments prior to that this evening, but in light of the weather event last Friday, I decided I'll wait till the next meeting. I saw that we only had one person that filled out a postcard, and I did remind her prior to the meeting that there's a 3-minute time limit, and she said she would stay well within that 3 minutes. So I appreciate Ms. Perkins for doing that. Going forward, one of the things we're going to do is remind speakers that they have 3 minutes, and we're talking about getting some kind of a time clock up here so they can see the time themselves. But we'll discuss that further at future meetings. I do want to say thank you to my significant other, Sally. I had my hip replaced March the 7th and was on a walker until this past Monday, at which time I graduated to a cane. I was not able to drive myself, so she's been my personal chauffeur. They talk about in good times and in bad times. I think we had some pretty heated conversations when driving around, but I appreciate everything you do for me. I don't want somebody to walk in front of me, or I don't want anybody to walk behind me. I want somebody to be at my side and walk alongside of me, and Sally does that with me, so I appreciate that. With that being said, I'm going to ask for a motion for adjournment.
Motion for adjournment.
Second.
Okay. Motion for adjournment is made by Councilmember Luther, seconded by Councilmember Luke. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I hear none. We're adjourned.